So I'd like to read to you this section related to studying weather. Weather closely connects to water. So I'd like to read to you about this. Track along and read along while I read. I'm going to just zoom in. Interesting. Studying weather. Meteorologists are scientists who study the weather. Weather is the condition of the air in any area, and it is always changing. That is why meteorologists must constantly observe and measure those conditions. They use weather instruments to gather information so they can predict the weather. Meteorologists measure the temperature of the air. They observe cloud patterns. They measure how much rain or snow falls. They measure the speed and direction of the wind. So meteorologists are becoming better equipped to predict the weather because of the instruments that are used today. Temperature is our header. So I'm going to think about and flip that. What is temperature? Temperature is a measure of how hot the air is. Temperature is measured with the thermometer. There are many kinds of thermometers. The most common kind is a liquid thermometer. A liquid thermometer is a thin glass tube connected to a small bowl of liquid. As the liquid warms and cools, it expands and contracts. We've heard that word when we were looking at cold and warm water. The height of the column of the liquid in the tube changes in response to the temperature. By labeling the liquid tube to show temperatures, the meteorologist can read the temperature directly from the thermometer. Metals also expand and contract in response to temperature change. Some thermometers use strips made of two different metals to detect temperature change. These are called bimetallic thermometers. The two metals have different rates of expansion. One side of the strip expands more than the other as it heats up, and the strip bends. A pointer on the end of the bending strip points to the temperature. So here is a liquid thermometer. I'll go back. And this is measuring in Celsius on the right. So right now it looks like it's 25 degrees Celsius. Wind speed. What is wind speed? Moving air is called wind. Meteorologists are interested in how fast the wind is moving. To measure wind speed, meteorologists use anemometers, and wind meters. An anemometer uses a rotating shaft with wind-catching cups attached to the top. The harder the wind blows, the faster the shaft rotates, and the faster the cups move through the air. The moving cups measure the wind speed. A wind meter is an instrument with a small ball in a tube. When the wind blows across the top of the tube, the flow of air up the tube lifts the ball. The harder the ball blows, the higher the ball rises. Both instruments are adjusted to report winds in miles per hour or kilometers per hour. So these are important measurement tools for meteorologists. And wind is also used as a survival technique if you're ever lost in the woods or in a deserted place. A good indicator of weather is wind. This caption shows plants and flags can show the direction of the wind. A wind meter and an anemometer. Wind direction. You may have seen some of these on top of houses or sheds at one point, or even barns. Meteorologists are also interested in the direction the wind is blowing. To find out wind direction, meteorologists use a wind vane. A wind vane is a shaft with an arrow pointing on one end and a broad paddle shape at the other end. When wind hits the paddle, it rotates the shaft so the arrow points into the wind. Using a compass, the meteorologist finds out the direction the shaft is pointing. While direction is the direction from which the wind is blowing, it is reported in compass directions such as north and south. So here is a wind vane, another instrument, and a compass. Modern weather instruments. So earlier I said that the prediction of weather is becoming more accurate, such as our recent snowfall was predicted a week ago, mainly knowing that it was coming into our region. So we can become better prepared when weather hits. Meteorologists now use a combination of traditional weather instruments and computer-based digital weather instruments. Meteorologists get information from advanced electric instruments that are placed in good locations for monitoring weather. Those instruments use radio transmitters, like those in cell phones, to send information to weather centers, where meteorologists work. This weather device for home use has electronic instruments inside for detecting and reporting temperature and humidity. Some models measure air pressure and are connected to anemometers to measure wind speed. So here is our caption, a digital weather instrument for home use. And then this caption reads, a meteorologist studies a radar image of a storm. Another instrument, and yes, is what you see, is named a weather balloon. Weather balloons carry weather instruments high into the sky. The weather instrument gathers information about air temperature, wind speed, and wind direction. They gather information about air pressure. Air pressure is the force of air pushing on things around it. Weather balloons also provide information about humidity. Humidity is the amount of water in the air. And that's also very important, the humidity. All this information helps meteorologists predict the weather is coming. They can make forecasts that help people know what to expect. We need to know the weather to make choices about what to wear, how to travel, and what events to plan. So even today, I have to say, when we were in school, it was very rare to know if it would 100% possibility will snow. And now we were able to make that prediction sooner? All right, so I'm going to ask you some questions about thinking about weather. Who are meteorologists and what do they do? How do we measure air temperature, wind direction, precipitation? What do meteorologists use weather balloons for? And why is it important for meteorologists to be able to forecast the weather?